today I'm going to be talking about the historically tense relationship between Black Britons and the police force. There has been so much talk about police brutality in general, but I feel that we should also put our attention towards the Black British experience. Being Black and British means being invisible, whether it's the political system, whether it's the media and representations of what is beauty. I'll be exploring the relationship between the police force and Black Britons, mainly centred around the Caribbean community due to my own background and London due to my own background as well. This does not mean that other Black British experiences aren't just as valid and that there is not a space for them to be discussed. So far we've looked at identity, the Black British identity, and what it means to be Black British in a sort of short sense. Let's take it back to the past. Violence was often used as a means to stop the oppressed from revolting against the powerful. This is a dynamic we see during African slavery, which dates from the 15th to early 20th centuries. The British Empire gained loads of wealth through sugar and trade, yet they cannot accept the same people which enabled them to gain this wealth. Without sugar, without the contribution of labour, free labour of their ancestors, Britain would not be what it is today, and that's a fact. This then brings us to the 1981 Brixton Riot. The Brixton Riots began in 1981, where a motorist was stopped by the police, assumed to have stolen the car. Of course, this narrative is something we have heard before, and we know that the man, who was a Black man, did not steal this car. Long story short, the situation escalated, and this symbolises the tension, the Black community being fed up of the police unfairly and unjustly stopping them in the streets, stopping and searching them, and assuming that they are always up to no good. I will now focus on police brutality, showing you a timeline of key events which occur between the Black British community and the police force. Stephen Lawrence, aged 18, was killed on April 22nd, 1993. Whilst at the bus stop, Stephen Lawrence and his friend were approached. His friend got away, and Stephen Lawrence was murdered by a mob of white racist youth. This is a very clear symbol of racism, but not only that, it symbolises the structure and how people with power can cover up and hide things. In this case, those that killed Stephen Lawrence were able to get away with it for a number of years. Joy Cardner was killed in 1993. They tied her arms, they put like surgical tape, some around like her neck or her hair. She was due to be deported a couple of weeks before she was treated in such a horrific way. When you have a precarious living situation in the country, that there's a whole nother dimension in how you will be treated. Christopher Alder, aged 37, died on April the 1st, 1998. Christopher Alder, after a fight outside of a nightclub, ended up at a police station. Despite this altercation and the injuries which he received, the police failed to give him the appropriate care that he deserved. He tried to tell the police that he needed medical support, but they assumed that he was pretending. Secondly, we have the situation of which he was left on the floor of the police station with his trousers on his knees and blood around his mouth, whilst the police joked around and made monkey noises. This is a clear symbol of the racism that exists in this country. Mark Duggan was killed in 2011, aged 29. He was shot dead by the police, and there is a lot of discussion on whether or not it was a lawful or unlawful killing. Did he have a gun? Did the police plant a gun? Is there covering up happening? Is he just a true culprit? He was a criminal, he just deserved to die. It was his own fault. So I think in this conversation it's very obvious what standpoint I will come from, and it's clear that the police cover for each other. If you watch the BBC documentary, which is called Lawful Killing, Mark Duggan, you can make a conclusion for yourself, but if you want to be on the right side of history and you're aware of racism and you're aware of the unfairness in this country, particularly in terms of the police system and how racism manifests itself in the police system, you will see that Mark Duggan was unlawfully killed. Sarah Reed was 32 when she killed herself in Royal Holloway prison. Years prior to this, it is clear that Sarah Reed was not well. She had mental health issues, yet despite this, the police failed to give her the appropriate care that she needed. There is even a case before this where Reed experienced police brutality. Activists such as Lee Jasper highlight that she faced terrible experience in Royal Holloway prison. So this should not have happened at all. Roshanda Charles died aged 20 in July 2017. This is the most recent example of police brutality. A disturbing video circulating social media highlights Charles being restrained by a police officer and what appears to be a local. Due to this altercation, Charles then died, and this then shows or brings an image in my head of all the people in America who have died in a similar situation where they have been suffocated, just like Eric Garner. The Black British and Black American experiences are largely different, but this does not mean that we should use the Black American experience to invalidate our own experience. The Black British experience is different due to the absence of guns, due to the absence of the Second Amendment and the history behind that. Britain and America are different countries. It's time we started to focus on our own history beyond America. We are all Black people, but we should all learn about each other's history and each other's experiences. Send this to all the people that say, there's not racism in the UK, or racism doesn't exist in Europe. Send this to your friends. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.